Well, thank you for tuning into JourneyThroughLinux.com. Now, what you're seeing right now is my computer screen. I'm running a virtual machine on Windows XP. What we're trying to install right now is Ubuntu 9.10, the 32-bit release. What we're going to do is I'm going to walk you step by step on how to do an installation on your own machine or virtual machine if you have that on your Windows machine or Macintosh. After walking you through the installation, as the lessons follow, we'll go through basics of how to get around through the command line, how to install applications, what applications to install, and questions and answers. But that's all later on. So let's go ahead and let's get started with this installation. I know a lot of us are out there, we've never used Linux before. It's like, oh, what does the installation look like here? Well, it's fairly easy. Here we go. We're going to select English here and click the forward button. And then what happens is it's just going to query up the next screen, setting up the clock. And we get ourselves a nice little map here. So I'm in the Eastern Hemisphere. It's currently 12:39 in the morning. And we're going to go ahead and forward again. And from this screen you can basically choose whatever time zone you're in. From there it says what keyboard are you familiar with, and they have hundreds for you to choose from. We're just going to do the standard USA keyboard. Alright. Now it's opening up the partition. Now it recognizes that I have a VMware, and what it's basically saying, I have an 8 gig hard drive, and what do you want to use? And I'm telling it to erase the entire disk. Now, if you're trying to install this on a computer fresh, you want to do an entire disk. If you're trying to, let's say, do it with Windows XP or another version or another operating system, you may want to do the manual if you know how to do it, or there will also be another option here where it will say you want to use part of the disk. But right now, because I'm VMwaring it and I'm just going to do it just for the VMware purposes, we're just going to dump the entire 910 on the entire 8 gig hard drive I have here. Alright, just to give you a heads up, I will be pausing through areas that take longer to install. So I'm going to type in my name here. It's going to be the same name I'm logging into. Type in my super secret password. And then your computer name. Normally it just does your first name dash desktop. You can make it whatever you want to. So I'm just going to leave it this way because that's the default. I highly suggest you not do login automatically, but require my login and password. And this is how it is. This is unsecure, secure, and very secure because it encrypts your home folder. For the general Linux user, I would say just require the login. The reason why I say don't allow automatic login, what happens is it makes you lazy. You forget your password, and then here you're trying to do like commands, and you don't even remember your password, so you don't even know how to sudo. So we'll get into sudo a little bit later on. So let's go ahead and hit forward past here. So far it's pretty simple. It gives me a layout. You want the English language, keyboard layout US, your name is Harold, your login name will be Harold, you're in the US, Eastern area. I'm using the full hard drive. I'm having one partition set up as my ext4, and then another one is a swap table, and my hard drive is going to be known as SDA. I mean, pretty basic, right? Alright, and we hit install. And right now it's going to go through your standard installation, formatting the partitions, going to give all the welcome screens. But see, it's not that difficult. Back in the old days when Linux came out, I was running old versions of like Slackware, I think Slackware 6 and Slackware 7. I had to go in, I had to fdisk, and then I had to go to a command line and figure out where I want my partition to be, set up the swap space. You know, you got to take how much RAM you have and multiply it by 2 or by 4 depending on what kind of machine you have, and then after that, you know, that's what your swap space was. But this is very intuitive. It comes preloaded with a lot of applications, but what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video here, and I'm going to start it back up after the installation's over, just so you can see and get a nice little time lapse here. So be back in a flash. Alright, and we're back. The installation took longer than I assumed, so what I did was just let it run overnight. But here it is. We're about to go ahead and select Ubuntu here. There goes their little logo. Alright, so here we are. We're at the login screen. I'm just going to select my name here. And then, just like I set it up, I want it to type in my password. Now, here's some things here that weren't here before. You can actually change your keyboard, your GUI. You're going to load into a genome and United States. In the last version, I think it was, let's see, 9.04. At least the one that I was running, we didn't have all these extra options on here. So yeah, it's 8:44 a.m. So let's see. I'm gonna log in here. And a similar loading screen as Windows does, the little pulsating line to simulate the loading effect, I guess. Alright, and here it is. This is Linux, well, a Linux GUI. But as you can see, it's not as scary looking as people think it is. It's pretty plain. I mean, it looks like any other operating system. You have your toolbars up here at the top, and you got your dock down here. There's your recycle bin and power, who you're logged in as, email, network abilities, and everything. So I mean, this is it in a nutshell. The installation took about, I want to say, about hour and a half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load Ubuntu 64-bit on my server and see if it's any quicker on an actual computer, because I'm running VMware, so VMware naturally needs a lot of resources, and then it's simulating the installation, so that's going to need a lot of resources. So I don't really think it's going to take 2 hours if you tried to load on your own computer at home, but you know, it's pretty good. Now, the difference between this version and all the other versions that I've used is that all the other versions were normally just on regular CD. It's about 650 to 700 megs. This one was an actual 3.5 gig installation, and it's pretty big. It is very big, in fact. But you know, installation went pretty good. And then here's your little update manager. He gets to be annoying, and what he does is that he goes out. It's kind of like Windows Update. He goes out to the Ubuntu servers and goes, "Hey, is there any updates, any security patches?" And lo and behold, there is. But we're not going to get into that right now. Anyways, there you go. Now tune in next time as we go and explore basically what the Ubuntu has to offer.